Okay, I'm here with Brian Swerdfigger, and we're going to talk about kind of how one thing leads to another with guitars.
Yeah.
You've got a T5 there, and it's a nice hybrid guitar. We've got an electric. Of course, we started with acoustic guitars years and years ago, 35 years of making acoustics. And we always find it an interesting conversation to talk about how you get from point A to point B. A lot of times, like with this guitar or this guitar, we never really had a mandate that we want to develop that for the market.
Right. Well, people always say, well, why are you doing it? Or who gave you permission?
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that's really true about our culture is one idea breeds the next,
Mm-hmm.
and they just build upon each other.
Yeah, for example, we designed necks early on that bolt on. In the pursuit to perfect that and perfect it, we ended up by our 25th year of business, we had the NT neck. Beautiful straight neck, straight all the way through, no lump at the 14th fret, no twisting and bending and pulling. Be able to get the angle set right on it. You take bolts out and it comes out in your hand, you change the shims, you put it on, it's a new angle. It's really great. Then one day we get tired of pickups.
Right. And because of that beautiful joint, we started looking around going, we could put a pickup in there.
Yeah,
we can hide something.
Yeah, we were in the middle of trying to come up with something we felt was better.
Yeah.
And boy, that spot on the guitar was never available to us before.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot that certainly electric guitar players know about. A lot of times where the neck pickup sits right at the harmonic spot.
Mm-hmm.
And on acoustics, you could never really get there. And because of the NT joint, we had access now to a sweet spot under the strings.
Yeah, well, also a hidden sweet spot, because we don't really want to make guitars from the factory with something in the sound hole. So aesthetically, we're able to lift the neck off. We can design a small pickup. We put it underneath there, put the neck down. If you need to take it off for servicing, you unbolt it, put it back on. Something we never would have done if the neck was glued on.
Right.
You're not going to put a pickup and then glue it in place and then throw the whole guitar away,
right.
If the pickup goes bad. And then we started working with magnetics, winding pickups, all this different stuff, perfecting the ES, bringing it along, and one day we end up with this guitar, which is really similar. It's got an extra pickup, but the sensor and what's under the fretboard is the same as what's on an acoustic.
Yeah, there's actually a whole coil under the last fret, and a body sensor sitting stuck to the back of the top here, and a fully suspended top, which is nice. And in fact, the early versions of this we were joking, but they were our pickup mules. We were testing pickup locations and things, and the next thing you know, we had so much fun just playing this guitar by itself. It became a guitar that wanted to be.
Yeah, and you've got the other pickup, and a lot of people are surprised to learn that that's a humbucker. And the guitar, the pickup that's under the fretboard is a humbucker too.
Right. Let's take a quick listen.
Okay.
And we'll give everybody a tour of the pickups and the switching, because that's really where you kind of get the power of a T5.
Okay.
So I'm plugged into an AB both box, which just allows me to go into two different destinations. So the first destination is the K4 and directly into the camera, and then the second side goes to this Vox AC30. So we'll be able to listen to the guitar in its acoustic nature and its electric nature.
Okay.
So the first position is the most acoustic. It uses the neck pickup and the body sensor together to be a nice... It's great strummy, or you want to do a little finger style. So whatever you want to do acoustic-wise, you can play it thumpy, you can strum it, you do fingerstyle, and it's going to capture the essence of that tone because of the body sensor getting all the high-end detail, and the string sensor under the fretboard here getting all the meat of the tone.
Yeah. Plus, this guitar is hollow, and it has a live, top, an acoustic guitar bridge, so it's really acting a lot like an acoustic guitar would act.
Right.
So it gets that real great acoustic tone, but then that doesn't really get in the way when it's time for electric tones.
Right. Yeah. People are surprised because they see the electric strings on it and they wonder what's up with that.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, I'm going to switch to the second position. Go over here to the electric guitar amp, and now we're into electric guitar world. It's kind of nice. This is just a volume, bass, and treble control. So if I turn the treble down, bass up, I can get a really nice woody. Kind of a tone. But the power of the tone controls go the opposite direction. Treble up, bass down, and now I've got kind of a brighter, almost single coil sound.
And what pickups do you have then?
That's just the neck on.
Just the neck.
Yeah, so we're going to put those back to kind of the flat or middle position and switch to just the bridge humbucker now. So the bridge pickup by itself can kind of go from a rootsy rock tone to full crunch. So it's one guitar can go all the way from acoustic to fully electric, clean or crunchy, and then you start to get to some combination tones, which are fun as well.
Yeah. Well, and when you get in there, now a lot of people, the first time they play this guitar, some people just really recognize it as something great, and they're just like, whoa, I got to have this. 'Cause they see it as maybe like a Swiss Army knife kind of guitar. They're a front man in a band, or they're playing a lot of different types of things in a club. Other people look at it and go, well, that doesn't sound like my whatever.
Right.
You know, and then they walk away. And we've had a lot of people react that way and then come back and go, oh, wait a minute, it never was supposed to sound just like, your single coil guitar, your humbucking guitar. It kind of has its voice of its own. You can arrive at those sounds.
Right.
Especially if you're really skilled with amps and stuff in tone settings like you are, but that's not the point of it. The point of it isn't to be a copy guitar.
Right. Well, we've never copied anything, and that's been your hallmark. I think it's important to look at it with you've got a pure solid body on one end of the spectrum and a pure acoustic guitar at the other end of the spectrum. Well, these days there's a lot of music in between.
Right.
That isn't fully acoustic, it isn't fully electric, it's a combination of both. And there's a lot of sonic ground in there that's real musical and it's inspiring. And I think the T5 has found its own place because of that.
Right. And you've got two more pickup settings beyond what you've shown me,
yeah, so you
where
can
you tie the two
tie
humbuckers
these two together and you get into more of a 50s hollow body world. And then finally, the fullest, fattest sound would be the bridge pickup and the neck humbucker together in series. So depending on what amp you're plugged into or effects or a combination of things, you really can go a lot of places with this.
And then this started leading us to, other ideas. We started working with, pickups. We began to question how like the magnetic field, the coil, the magnets, how the coil was sitting in the magnetic field and how that played off each other. David Hostler here at Taylor Guitars has a brilliant mind with that. He wakes up in the middle of the night and is like, why does that work like that? And he challenges it. We ended up with this really beautiful little humbucker that when we heard it, we thought it felt so good that it really should go onto a solid body guitar.
Right. Yeah, it's an idea spawned by the one previous and previous, and we wouldn't have got there if it weren't for the NT neck joint.
Right.
So
now people see that we've released solid bodies.
Yeah, we'll switch over. Thing. And everybody wants to jump to this. Well, why are you doing a solid body? It seems so out of the blue to many people. But again, for us, it's just the kind of the natural extension of exploration and.
Because we dig them and we have fun making them.
Yeah.
That's kind of why we do them.
So this was actually an interesting project because with a new pickup idea, it kept pushing the rest of the team forward. We started talking about a bridge and what could it be, and then what could the knobs be, and just what could the bodies do, and it really all the way down to what's the 5-way switch going to do?
Right.
And so, quick tour of this. The outside two switch positions do what you expect them to be. It's the full neck humbucker or the full bridge humbucker, and in the clean amp. Sounds nice, full and fat. Step on the overdrive pedal again. Again, I think it delivers what you expect and a little bit more. Because, and then a little bit more comes in, I'm going to leave the overdrive on, but switch into the second position, uses a different coil combination, just the inside coil of both pickups,
Right.
but it's less output now. And so I can actually clean up that big crunchy tone just by turning the volume down a little bit, switching to that spot. If I go back to the full bridge, so it's clean dirty.
Yeah. Now what's our next position over from there?
So the third
Middle.
position uses the full neck and just half of the bridge pickup. What's nice about this is it's articulate, especially if you're doing a little tiny part. Doesn't get wimpy sounding, but it's bright enough that it stays articulate.
Yeah.
And then the fourth position, I'm actually going to switch back to a clean sound. It's a great sound that's not full and fat, like having two humbuckers on. Allows you to get a little funkier tone.
Yeah.
And then finally back to the full bridge.
Yeah.
So, it all of a sudden became a new vehicle, new place for ideas.
Yeah, so we've got the pickup. We came in and started talking about switching. There's really cool switching on this thing. And then you've got a volume, you've got a tone. But the tone is sort of that knob that goes along for the ride on a lot of guitars. So we started thinking, maybe the tone pot could do something.
Right.
And it'd be kind of cool to hear what that thing does.
Yeah, in the first 2/3 of the travel, it acts like a typical tone control would, rolling off the high end. But it's that last third where it almost works like a little bandpass filter, or like turning on a wah-wah pedal and leaving it half cocked. You can really hear it again on the dirty side. If I play it wide open, or if I turn it all the way off, gives you new places to get more control just right at the guitar.
Then the bridge, you go out and you look at all the OEM suppliers that could give us a bridge. There's Floyd Rose and Kaler and Schaller and you name it. You can Goto bridges, all this stuff. You find that you make electric guitars. You pick one of those bridges that you think are great. You put it on the guitar. But we wanted to do something on our own, like we always do. And so we started working on that, it was cool because what we were really trying to do is solve some of those problems. Intonation drift. You take all your strings off and your saddle moves around a little bit.
Right.
Ergonomics. How does bridge
it feel?
Wanted to come up with a new look. The height adjustment. Getting rid of all of the kind of like the hardware and all the Frankenstein-y stuff that goes on it. We've got a couple little screws back here that are pretty stealth. Each one of these saddles is a full shuttle. String goes in the end, comes out over the top. We've worked on the break angle until we felt we found the break angle that was the best.
Yeah, it feels great for all strings, equal tension.
You move this up and back. the whole string goes with it. So you're not you don't. It's not like you have a fixed brake angle down or a fixed position, and then you're moving the saddle back and forth on it, thus changing the brake angle, making it real loose. The tension down. If we raise and lower the bridge, the downward tension is always the same. And we've done a great job with acoustics, and I mean, look at it, the T5 over there, we've got an acoustic guitar bridge and saddle on it. It's pretty much non-adjustable. So for us, we take out of the factory adjustments really seriously. Mm-hmm. And so we took that same, because we want it to be right, we don't want people to have to mess with it. And gosh, we've made 30,000 T5s or something, mm-hmm. and they've all gone out with a saddle where the intonation and the action is set.
It's perfect.
And people don't change them. They play
right.
electric guitar and they go, wow, this is a great setup, because we know what a good setup is.
Right.
And certainly people want to adjust for their liking. There's always a little bit of that. But a lot of times people are adjusting guitars because they weren't ever really set up to begin with. So they go on a hunting expedition as a player mm-hmm. to try and find out what they think they want. Well, we've made 1 million guitars, and we've taken the action seriously on those guitars. And it's like we kind of know what players want. So same thing, when this leaves the factory, we seriously work on the intonation and the action of this guitar, and it's kind of locked down. Players can get to it if they want, but rather than make something that just we sort of get in the general ballpark and then give you a screwdriver to take it where you want, we don't
right.
believe in that. We believe that there's a place for it to be, and that 95 out of 100 people will go, that's a great place.
Right.
And so we're doing the work for the player, and we're not really giving them a bridge that makes it super easy for them to go out. It's there. You can adjust the intonation. You can unlock it. You can raise and lower the intonation, or raise and lower the action.
Right.
Treble higher, bass higher, anything you want. But when you're all done, everything locks down again, and that helps with the tone. Aluminum.
It does.
Talk about that for a minute.
Aluminum was a great discovery because, as we're prototyping, we were obviously milling them ourselves out of aluminum here. Mm-hmm. And after 6 months of playing aluminum bridges, you decide, well, let's go try it out of something else.
Make some out of brass or out of whatever.
Steel or something, and then you go, ick. The aluminum sounded great all along.
Yeah, kind of an accidental discovery.
But then, think about that challenge of trying to find somebody or the right tools and things to mill an aluminum bridge and plate it and do all the secondary machining. Mm-hmm. That's a project in of itself. That was
I think the bridge
ambitious.
was as much work as the whole guitar.
Yeah.
So anyways, the trade dress is good. The design is cool. There's some different things going on. They've all got some binding going on the guitar and some cool contours and, the really neat T-lock neck, the tone. It's a fun thing. And for us, to the market, a lot of times to go into that, it seems like this gigantic leap. To us, it just sort of seems like a next step. We're there. We're making the parts. Let's design one and
It's got all the hallmarks of what we do as far as innovation and technology that are kind of under the hood or behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. But all the stuff that you explained about the bridge, mm-hmm. when you pick it up and play it, you don't think about all that, and you're not supposed to. You're thinking about making music.
Yeah.
But the fact that you thought about it and the guys here thought about it first means that it just works. It works like the way you want it to work.
We just want people to play. Yeah. And we're thrilled if they look down and go, oh, cool bridge, and then move on. You know what I mean? That's big true. Validation.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. That's like acoustic, electric, more electric,
Yeah. And I'm sure that this is going to lead to new things because nothing stays still here.
A lot of good ideas. Cool. Thanks, Brian.